Ladies and gentle ladies, it is time for another episode of the You, Me, and BTC podcast. Goodness, we got a little bit of hate mail. I guess it was 2 episodes ago. The last one was a little bit better. But we got a little bit more hate mail because people thought that we weren't talking about Bitcoin enough, which, I don't know, maybe that's worth covering for a minute or two, guys. Actually, it'll probably turn into like 5 or 10 minutes. I don't know. But
yeah, you can skip this part if you don't want the crap.
yeah, somebody commented on YouTube and they're like 5 minutes and 8 seconds in, we'll get you past the crap. So, anyway, yeah, but I guess that it was worth talking about, you know, how we have started to drift and how we really have been thinking about that a lot lately. And I guess I see no reason not to mention that we are thinking about starting a new show, and we'll still keep YMB going, the good old classic. I mean, it really is, it's pretty close. It's been pretty much a 10th of our lives that we've committed to this show, which is weird to think about, but it's pretty true. And so we'll keep it going, but we're thinking about starting a new show, you know, like I said, more geared towards entertainment and such, just because you're right. I mean, we have kind of stepped away from Bitcoin a little bit. I mean, it's not like we don't like it. It's just we say a little bit less about it. We talk about liberty and philosophy a little bit, even though we hate philosophy. And according to some people, we hate liberty too. I don't know. But we're just going to generalize things and talk about more, I don't want to say random, but just, you know, a broader range of categories. We might have some specific segments, you know, that we want to, you know, bring up now and then. So I don't know. That's that. I don't want to go off on it for too long, but just so you know, we are thinking about that. We have known for months now that we have kind of shifted our focus. Well, no, we're still focused on Bitcoin. We've just kind of shifted our entire tone. Although even that, I mean, we've always been a little, you know, what's the word? We like to banter about random stuff. That's always kind of been the case, but it's kind of become, I don't know. Things are changing, and keep an eye out for those changes. I guess that's the takeaway, is just keep an eye out for some new stuff. But anyway,
I guess that's a pretty big announcement to just like throw out, but there you go.
That might be true. I don't know. Anyway, I am Daniel Brown, and I'm here with
Timothy Baker.
And John Stuart.
Yeah, just like the YouTube guy said, it took us 4 minutes just to mention our names, and now who knows?
I'm showing 3:30-ish.
Yeah, and we'll cut a little bit out, but yeah, who knows how long until we get to the actual content. Yeah, so what is the content? Coming up, we actually decided today, we are going to try to focus on Bitcoin a little bit more, just for you haters out there. But we're going to try to hit a bunch of stories. I mean, just for fun, kind of. You know, normally we hit either one big story or two stories for half and half of the episode. But I don't know, just for fun, we're going to go for a bunch of them here. We're going to talk about Japan and Europe starting to embrace Bitcoin in some different ways. And we are going to touch on a list of use cases for Bitcoin from Nasdaq. I mean, so, you know, you talk about Nasdaq and it sounds like a legacy, old-fashioned financial corporation, which might be true in a lot of ways, but they are also considering Bitcoin and what it could be used for at this point in its lifespan, so we'll touch on that. And then I really hope we have time to get to Spells of Genesis. I thought of this like half an hour ago, and I couldn't believe that we've never mentioned it before because Tim and I have actually been somewhat involved in it. And so yeah.
We are here bringing you the most cutting edge.
Yeah, of course we are. Absolutely. We're the most cutting edge Bitcoin podcast out there. So yeah, so we're going to get to Spells of Genesis. It's a card game where the cards are on the blockchain. They're just as legitimate, just as secure as Bitcoin. And I think that's a pretty awesome concept, and we'll get you some more details coming up. But like I said, first, Japan and Europe embracing Bitcoin. I'll let Tim let us know what's going on in both of those. Well, one of them's a country, one of them's a continent. But yeah, what is it, Tim?
Well, this news from Japan is that with the European Union, they've approved Bitstamp, but also now Japan has started to accept them more. They're now going to start regulating them as something similar to a currency. So it's a little more accepting of Bitcoin now than it has been. But I do like that it shows that more people are involved. It could possibly drive the price up, which we've seen a little bit. The price is doing pretty well. More involvement with Bitcoin is good, always for the price. Yeah, just that in general.
So here's the deal. I know we've had this conversation 100 times before when they worked on like the bit license in the US and other countries being like, Bitcoin's okay, but we're going to try to regulate it. And there's other countries. I mean, we talked about the Isle of Man, which is supposed to be a really free country or whatever it is, a protectorate or something. But then they were going to implement some minimal regulations, and we had a whole conversation about whether that's good and stuff. So I do not want to go knee deep into this conversation again, but I do just want to touch on it real quick. I mean, that is the news here. They're thinking about regulating Bitcoin or having some laws about how to handle it. And just within 30 seconds or a minute, guys, what do you think? Is that a good thing that nations are accepting Bitcoin? Or is it bad because it's regulation and they're forcing X, Y, and Z rules upon people? I'll give you each just a minute or so because I don't want to get into it. But what do you think?
I think regulation is obviously not the best thing for something from my perspective, but it does show something good that Bitcoin's getting regulated, I guess, because it does show that people are paying attention to Bitcoin, focusing on it. And I mean, that's always good as long as Bitcoin's in the spotlight for that and not something like you can buy sex slaves with Bitcoin. That's not the kind of publicity you want. You want something like more countries are accepting it, countries are talking about it. If you're looking at it as someone who wants to build the kind of infrastructure of Bitcoin and make Bitcoin more global and used by more people. That's good, I think, mostly just because with how what happened with Mt. Gox in Japan, a lot of people, I would think about that. And it shows that people are still willing to go with Bitcoin, even if it does mean that there's going to be a lot more regulations on it, more restrictions, because they're going to be wary of what happened with Mt. Gox. Maybe not. That's just what I would expect.
All right. So yeah, you think it's good because it to some extent it's going to make up for Mt. Gox and it, at least in the public's opinion, Mt. Gox made it bad, but now that it might be regulated a little bit, they might get over Mt. Gox.
Yeah, I think most people will be able to get over Mt. Gox, and they can focus on using Bitcoin better.
Well, here's another question then, Tim, because we also had a whole conversation about whether Bitcoin was even necessary for the masses. Do we need everyone to be accepting? And when I say accepting, I don't just mean taking it for goods and services. I mean appreciating and supporting Bitcoin. We have an episode called Bitcoin Isn't for the Masses. And the only reason I could see regulation being good is because it helps the public opinion. Because then they're like, okay, if the government takes it, then or accepts it and tolerates it, then maybe it's worth looking at. But does that even matter if Bitcoin isn't for the masses? Which actually isn't what we completely said in that episode, so you got to go listen to it. But I know, Tim, out of the three of us, you might have been supporting the side of it's not for the masses the most. And so what do you think about that? I mean, how could this be good if we don't really care if everyone accepts it?
Well, I think it has to be good only if you're only really focused on it, because it doesn't really help Bitcoin itself besides getting more good press out for it. So mostly I'm just about it as far as it goes, but other people would see it as better.
That's definitely true. Absolutely. But yeah, I like your comment because to me it's like, and this is my 30 seconds. Tim, you went way over, but this is my 30 seconds. To me, it's like, well, if you're planning on doing things that the government doesn't like anyway, well, it doesn't really matter if it's regulated or not, because you're going to do what you're going to do with Bitcoin. So it can't really hurt the people that are planning to do slightly sketchy things with Bitcoin, but it could help Bitcoin maybe, with the public opinion. So it's just, it doesn't really hurt. Maybe it'll help, but whatever. I mean, if you want to try to regulate it, go for it. If we want to listen, we might. If we don't want to listen, we might not. And that's about it. So that's my 30 seconds. I think I pretty much kept it to that. And I want to know what John thinks.
Oh, man, I've been waiting for this. I'm going to relish this moment for a second more. No, I'm just kidding. Honestly, stuff like this, I so much just do not care about anymore. I don't even want to talk about it. I guess what I think is, you get all these people now who are saying Bitcoin is dead. People rage quitting Bitcoin. While we were looking for stuff, I saw another article where some guy said Bitcoin's dead. And then there's all those people, and then there's the other half of the people who still think it's like a honey badger or whatever. And I don't think it's the honey badger of Bitcoin or whatever, but if government regulation, if it's fragile enough to get destroyed by government regulation, then it's probably not that big of a deal anyways. You know what I'm saying? It's either the thing you said, it's just not going to be for the masses, and that's just how it's going to be, or it's going to get completely destroyed by governments, in which case that was going to happen anyway, and putting it off a few more years wasn't going to stop anything. So I just honestly don't care about this kind of crap anymore.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, it's basically, it's kind of the what's the word? Not the inverse, the converse. Yeah. I think it's the converse, which is where you do the double negative, but it means the same thing. So what you just said is kind of the converse of what I just said. I just said that if the people are going to use Bitcoin for anything, they're going to use it whether there's regulation or not. And so I'm just meh. And you're well, if the government is going to regulate Bitcoin, whether it's now or later, and if they're going to try to destroy Bitcoin, they're going to do the best they can, and it may or may not work either way. So meh. Does that make sense? Does that sound like the converse?
Yeah. I mean, it's either it is a honey badger or it's not, and it was going to die anyways.
Yeah. All right. I like those points, and I think it's good to stop there because we could talk about it forever, but we already have, and we want to avoid that. Are you tired of Bitcoin dice and ready for something different? Try LuckyBit, the original falling coin game, at luckybit. It's the most exciting Bitcoin game on the web. You can bet on 5 different payout lines and win up to 999 times your bet. You can even use their faucet to get some free Bitcoin. Dice is boring. Play different at LuckyBit. Check it out at luckybit. So, John, I'll let you take it away with this list of use cases for Bitcoin according to the Nasdaq.
Well, I guess we'll talk about it then. Yeah, so this is an article on Nasdaq.com, like Dan said. Headline, it's 2016. What are Bitcoin's real use cases? And we got a rundown here of 6 use cases. And so I guess we'll just go through them one at a time. The first one is digital gold.
Did we say that this was from Bitcoin Magazine? I mean, that's the author. I don't know who actually wrote it.
No, but the author is Bitcoin Magazine, and it's published on Nasdaq.com. Anyways, number 1, Bitcoin, digital gold. I don't know why I said it that way. Digital gold, that's all it says. It doesn't... These titles are actually kind of not explained very well. I guess they want you to read the paragraph.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty true. I mean, that's something we've talked about, ever since, episode 10 or something, 12. I don't know. We had a couple bullion dealers on the show talking about how it's similar to gold and it can be used like gold. And we debated with Franklin Sanders, a big gold bug who didn't like Bitcoin, and we were emailing him a lot and talking about it on the show. So we've been covering this for a while, and yeah, I mean, I think it's true. It's a limited, scarce asset that can be transferred digitally, and that's like gold, but way more convenient. And so, yeah, I think this is pretty accurate.
Yeah. I mean, I think there's a lot of differences, but there's a reason why people who are really interested in gold find Bitcoin interesting too.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, the difference is that gold, when push comes to shove, gold is physical, and it can do some things in real life. With Bitcoin, that's not necessarily true. So that is a tough point to overcome. I mean, even if people started hating how gold looks and it wasn't good for jewelry or something, they could still keep their door open with it or hold their paper down with it. So there is a difference there, but still, just in terms of mentality and the way people treat scarce things, I think they work pretty similarly. So should we hit the next one?
Number 2, trading and speculation. Yeah, the interesting thing is, like, the first sentence of this is that the vast majority of Bitcoin transactions happen off blockchain, and most of these transactions are on the various Bitcoin exchanges around the world.
Wow, the next sentence says that the record trading volume was on Christmas Day 2015. Well, for a while. I guess it's since been broken. But that is so weird. Why would so many people be interested in trading on Christmas? That's so weird.
Maybe they got some Bitcoin for Christmas and
yeah,
they wanted to get rid of it.
Now that you mention it, I think I did give some cousin. Well, no, it was earlier than that. But I have given Bitcoin for Christmas. But yeah, this one is interesting to me. I actually just watched last night a documentary. It was called Money from Nothing, and it was about how the Fed was, just completely based on faith in regulation and stuff, and how they caused the 2008 financial crisis and other things. And I wouldn't completely support that documentary from a free market point of view. There were some points where it seemed like they were still advocating regulation and such. But one of the interesting points in there was they talked about derivatives a couple times. And I don't even know what derivatives are, technically. I know there's some kind of financial aspect. But they pointed out how derivatives were just so complex, and they were just kind of designed to try to get people profit. Like, they're just kind of artificial, contracts or ledgers or something that try to get people profit, And I do see that as a little bit of a risk when it comes to Bitcoin, because, I mean, the heading here is trading and speculation. I mean, you can't have legitimately and permanently, you can't have a market that's based on nothing but trading and speculation. There has to be real value somewhere. You can't just artificially trade things and try to make money. Do you get what I'm saying? And how that could be a risk with Bitcoin? I mean, maybe people are just holding it and trading it because they want to make money, not because it actually has value. Do you get what I'm saying there? Yeah.
I think that's a good point. I don't have much else to say about it, but I think it's a good point.
All right. Well, here's the question I would ask. Do you think that's possible, or would you say that Bitcoin really does have value? I mean, I think obviously, because we're a Bitcoin podcast, I think we would support the latter, but it's worth asking the question, is it possible that it's artificial and they're just trying to make money, or does it really have value?
Well, I think it has value, but that's the thing. Like, just because you think it has value doesn't mean enough people will think it has value that it'll stick around. if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah. Yeah, I would just say that you're right, John. It is subjective, so you can't be sure. But yeah, you're right. To me, it has value. I have reasons to use it, and I do use it. So actually, that's one more thing that I want to say real quick. We actually, maybe we could do a full episode about this idea. But I have been thinking over the past couple weeks how cool it is that I have gone pretty significantly. I've transitioned from a Bitcoin praiser to a Bitcoin user. And actually, this also fits pretty well with our point about how we've kind of moved away from talking about Bitcoin quite as much on the podcast. You know, I mean, I'm not saying there's nothing to talk about or we shouldn't talk about it, but it's true that we are talking about it less and praising it less. And at the same time, I use Bitcoin all the time, mostly on purse.io to get discounts on Amazon, because I can get anything I want with Bitcoin. I mean, I guess I'll grant, like, I can't really pay my rent with Bitcoin right now, or groceries, you know, in person. So, and that is a pretty big portion of my spending. So it's still nowhere near 100% Bitcoin in my life, but I am a really serious user. And I think that's really cool. Like, it does have value to me. I use it for lots of things, and I don't even have to feel compelled to just ideologically say it's a cool thing. I get to actually use it a lot. I don't know. Have you guys experienced any of that?
Yeah, it feels better too whenever you're like actually using it, not just talking about how good or how useful it is, and then just actually just doing it. And you don't necessarily need to tell people. I mean, you can, but just like just doing what you were talking about before. If it's so much better than just use it for what you want.
Yeah, and I think speaking to maybe what Daniel was implying but didn't say explicitly is like, maybe the reason that we don't talk about it so much anymore is that it's becoming like normal to us.
Right. Oh, well, that's true. Yeah. And the main thing is, like, it wasn't always like this. When we first started the show, it was pretty hard to find a place to spend Bitcoin. And the only way to have a podcast about it was to praise it and just not the only way to have a podcast about it, but really the only thing about Bitcoin was ideological. People just had to say it's a great thing, it helps people, and it's going to take over the world someday, maybe, if we're lucky. And that was about it. It was hard to use, but easy to praise. And now that just kind of feels reversed to me. And I think that's a good thing. I think it's pretty awesome. So, and even
it's more honest, which, if not, I mean, even though it doesn't, you can kind of fake that with the ideology thing. I think it just comes across as better whenever you just do it.
I agree. Yeah. It's honest and it's valuable. It's useful. I think that's true. All right. What's number 3, John?
Number 3 is discount shopping. Speaking of purse.io, which we were just talking about, and we talk about almost every single episode.
No, it's been a while. You're right.
That's
we
true.
Used to, but it's been a while.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, like we were saying, like, Bitcoin is becoming more normal for us. I wouldn't say it's like completely the same for me as using like a debit card or using cash. It's not like completely to that level, but purse.io is a huge part of like the normalcy of it for me, because anything that I'm planning on buying on Amazon, I will just buy on Purse. Like, there's not really any reason for me to buy anything on Amazon anymore.
Oh yeah, not at all.
Unless like I really need it like right now. Like, I need to have it in the next 2 days, and I can't like wait at all for it. Like,
well,
there's
even
no
then,
reason.
I mean, even then, you can put like a 10% discount on it, and it should get picked up in like an hour or two. If you do a 10% discount,
maybe I want to buy it and have 1 day shipping and pay extra for that or something.
No, 10%. Oh, well, 1 day shipping you might have to do on Amazon, but anything that's 10% off or less is gonna be Amazon Prime. So you're gonna get 2 day shipping for sure, and it will get picked up within a few hours.
Yeah, this is true.
Hey, just because we hit on it, we didn't plan this at all, but I'm going to mention our affiliate link is ymb.tc/purse. if you want to check it out, I don't know how you could have missed it. Actually, I saw Bitcoin Bell. We had her on the show like a month or two ago. She used purse.io for the first time like a day or two ago. I was shocked. I can't believe.
Oh wow, this is amazing.
Well, she must not listen to our show.
That could be true. She tweeted like, I'm trying out purse.io. It seems pretty cool. I'm like, how have you never used this before? You're the Bitcoin Bell. So yeah, ymb.tc/purse. And it'll be the same price for you, exactly the same price, but we'll get a little portion, and we won't complain about that. So,
which is a way that you can support us without becoming a patron. A patron on Patreon. But if you want to do that, you can also do that, and we also wouldn't complain about that.
That is completely true. You can donate per episode a small amount and get perks. Yeah,
or buy stuff on Purse.
It's a real thing. Both of those are real things. ymb.tc/feed us if you want to feed us through Patreon. All right, John, what's number 4?
Number 4, darknet marketplaces and ransomware. Some Bitcoin users don't like to talk about it, according to this. I feel like we talk about this kind of crap a lot, and I feel like most Bitcoin users do. I guess it's like Bitcoin users will talk about this, but they don't like it when other people talk about it, because when other people talk about it, it's bad.
Exactly.
Yeah, so have either of you ever used a darknet marketplace? Or have you created or been the victim of ransomware?
I actually used to run a very successful assassination market on the it was a website called Kill Your Enemies. We had like, you would raise money and then like the blood would like fill up in a cup, and then whenever you like filled it up, then we'd go kill someone. It'd normally be like clowns, like weird people like that. I mean,
the ransomware thing, actually, I have an interesting thing about this, which is not totally related to this article at all, but I heard somebody talking about the ransomware thing, and he said that actually, like, part of the way that they'll make money is, like, they will set up a company or make a deal with a company that helps businesses to, like, learn how to do Bitcoin transactions. So, like, they'll put this ransom out, and then they'll like make the people pay to learn how to use Bitcoin so that they can pay the ransom.
Yeah.
I don't know how true, but yeah.
No, I had that happen actually. I have an aunt that works for a church. She does like accounting or something, and that happened to their computers at the church one time. They got locked down, and it was ransomware for Bitcoin. And they said, like, you got to pay us Bitcoin if you want to get your computers and your files back. And actually, I don't remember if the attack was successfully completed. I think it was spotted before it happened. But yeah, it's a real thing. And it was funny because my aunt's a little bit older and she doesn't know much. She knows I love Bitcoin, but she doesn't know much about it. So that's why she is like so interested in telling me about it. She's like, hey, this Bitcoin thing happened to me the other day. It was the weirdest thing ever. But yeah, it is a real thing.
We almost lost a bunch of money.
I know. So, but yeah, and I don't know. I feel like we might have covered this on the show. Maybe not. But I've actually heard people, I forget if it was like the FBI or someone, but they were actually encouraging people to just pay the ransom because that's your only hope.
I think I saw something like that too. One of the options just to pay it because they might take it back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I think we may have talked about that on the show, but I'm not positive.
Yeah. So I mean, it's a real use case. I guess, you know, in the article here, when they say use cases, they don't necessarily mean good ones, because I think most people, other than the perpetrators, most people would agree that ransomware kind of sucks. So they don't mean good.
Well, I think
use
the
cases.
perpetrators would say it sucks too.
Well, yeah, if it happened to them. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, but not necessarily
their business
good.
models relying on the fact that it sucks.
Well, yeah. Yeah, that is a good point. So, yeah, not necessarily good, but just use cases. I want to take number 5, because everyone, if you've listened to the show before, you know I got the gambling bug, and that's number 5, online gambling. Just this weekend, I was playing poker with Bitcoin, It's a real thing. It's everywhere. There's tons of dice sites and one of our best sponsors, awesome site, luckyb.it, Luckybit. They have a falling coin game. Yeah, it's a real thing. It's awesome to me anyway. And it works amazingly with Bitcoin. Amazingly. I mean, poker got shut down, completely, online poker, because they could just stop transactions. And now it only really happens in 2 states, Nevada and New Jersey. Other than that, online poker is just gone, except for Bitcoin, for the most part. I mean, there's a few rogue sites, but yeah, anyway, that's my point. I don't know if there's anything to add, but it's a real use case. I think it's awesome. And
I have something to add.
Yeah, go for it.
As much as I hate to admit it, I feel like this is actually like one of the best use cases of Bitcoin, because you were just talking about how it's pretty much disappeared, like dollar gambling online.
Right.
It's pretty much disappeared. Even if it hadn't disappeared, I feel like it's just so much. I feel like Bitcoin is just so much better suited to that.
Oh yeah,
like that's honestly, I think, one of the best use cases, because it's like infinitely divisible, so you can gamble in any amounts, and it's just like you're already doing this stuff online for sake of convenience. It's like just have this stuff automatically sent back and forth.
Oh my goodness, yeah, it's so much cheaper. You can cross borders. It is divisible. That's a big thing. I mean, I regularly play the micro stakes on SWC poker, and it's literally the blinds are like 1 and 2 cents or less than that, like half a cent and a cent. And it's obviously you're not going to get rich, but it's just relaxing. It's fun. I enjoy it, and you don't really have to risk much. That's a big thing. But if you want to risk more, you can. It's cheaper to send those transactions. You're right. I mean, even if dollar gambling was still around, Bitcoin would still be way more convenient. And it has been one of the first industries to pop up. I mean, when we first started the podcast, there was already a lot of Bitcoin gambling, and it was one of the first things to explode. And I agree. It's great. So, all right, sweet. Who wants number 6?
Number 6 is sales of digital goods. I already messed it up. So that makes sense. That's like purse, or like if you're just buying like MP3s, but also
purse is not digital goods. Well, it could be, probably, maybe, but this is different.
Okay. You can get, but there's a lot of video games now. Like, well, or not most, but there's a decent amount of video games now. It's sold by streaming and download. Yeah. And you can buy lots of gift cards online too that you can just load on your phone.
Yeah, gift cards are big. And yeah, with video games, we just talked a month or two ago about Steam starting to take Bitcoin. And I saw a tweet. I don't know a lot of details, but I saw a tweet recently about how that's moving forward. So yeah, digital goods, of course. And actually, this is listed in the honorable mentions, but one of which is weird because it sounds like a digital good to me, but they mentioned the protocol.tv. And we actually had the creator on the show before, but they basically sell videos for just like YouTube. They sell short videos or long videos for 50 cents or 99 cents or whatever. And it works great for stuff like that, because there are a lot of people that don't want to watch ads on YouTube, or they want to download an app and without ads, and yeah, let's pay $1 or so with Bitcoin, and that's pretty convenient. And then that leads into the honorable mention of micropayments, which is pretty sweet too. But yeah, digital goods work pretty well with Bitcoin. So
yeah, I think that's related also to the online gambling thing, for me at least, especially with like Steam and stuff like that, where it's just like, it's so convenient. Like, you're already doing all this crap online. Like, you might as well just have the cash online too.
Yep. Totally agree. Nice. Well, unless you guys have anything else, I want to move on, because Spells of Genesis is my topic, and I'm pretty excited about it, and I want to have time for it. So, are we good to move on?
Yep.
All right, so to wrap things up today, I just want to give a quick overview of Spells of Genesis because I love the concept enough that I got involved and put some money into it and stuff. And I can't believe that we never talked about it before, so here goes. This is an article from bitcoinist.net, and they're basically just giving us an overview of Spells of Genesis. It's a card game. Like I said at the beginning of the show, it's a card game on the blockchain. So actually, I don't know about every card. I think you can also get off the blockchain cards if you want. But if you want to have secure cards, if you want to have easily transferable cards, because here's the reason I love this so much. There's a lot of games out there like, I played RuneScape when I was a kid. But there's the more modern ones are League of Legends or World of Warcraft. Those kind of games, obviously underground, there are people that will buy and sell items and buy and sell accounts just to make a profit and everything. But in general, I think most of those big games make it illegal to trade outside of the game. Technically, according to the terms of service, you can't sell your League of Legends account. I got to be careful saying that because I don't know for sure, but I know there are a lot of games out there like that where they try to limit external trade because they want to keep things under control inside the game. They don't want their players getting scammed just because it's a bad experience and everything. So that's why I think this idea is so cool, to have a game that exists on the blockchain. So your users can't get scammed. Your players can profit and make money by playing. If they're good players, you could make some money. That's a good thing to have for your players too. And it is secure, just as secure as Bitcoin. It's encrypted. It's actually on the Bitcoin blockchain through Counterparty and the Counter wallet. So that might be all I have to say. I think it's the coolest thing ever. I'm glad they're trying it, and I hope it works out. They're still in beta, and they're working on development and stuff, but I think it's awesome. Any thoughts, guys?
No, you said something about it couldn't get scammed. I guess it's still possible for people to get scammed, but that's not. I don't see that as a drawback because it's not like it's any more possible for them to get scammed on this than doing anything else. So yeah,
that's true.
We had a thing about I don't know how it works, so maybe there's more protection against that, but people can get scammed doing anything.
Yeah, that's definitely true. So yeah, it's not like you can't get scammed with this. Of course you could, but I guess the idea is that it's just more secure, not secure in that you can't get scammed, but it's on the blockchain. You can see exactly who has what. If you're buying a card from someone, they could prove if they have it or not. And just, I don't know, just stuff like that. It's more legitimate and absolute and secure than just trading RuneScape gold. I'm going to make 1 million RuneScape gold and sell it for $5. I don't know. That just seems a little less definite, maybe a little less absolute.
Yeah.
So
I guess it's not going to be possible for people to counterfeit stuff is the thing.
Okay. You know what? That's probably the biggest thing. Well, it's not like you could counterfeit RuneScape gold, maybe. That would be pretty hard.
Yeah, but you might be able to hack into it and generate a bunch of gold.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a tough one though, because for some cards, not all. That's the thing with Counterparty and Counter Wallet. It's a really interesting system where you can make your own tokens and you can make up all your rules for your own tokens. So I'm sure every card and every token is a little bit different. Some of them have been created with only 1,000 of these cards will ever exist, and that's definite, that's for sure. and that can never change. And if you have one of those cards, it's only one of 1,000, and you can be sure. That's a really cool thing compared to another card game where you never know if they just change the database and they could make more of these cards. But I don't know about the whole hacking thing though. I mean, for other cards, they might be set on Counterparty. They might be set so that they can make more if they want to, and maybe that could be hacked. Where if you get their, I mean, you need to get their private keys, which is
well, I was saying this
but
is not going to get hacked, or something like RuneScape, you might be able to.
No, I know what you were saying, and that's completely true. But my point is, I'm making that maybe some cards could be hacked in a way where if they got the Spells of Genesis private key, they could generate more of certain cards if they were set that way, and maybe send them to themselves or something. So my only point was that this isn't completely impervious to hacking, but even if that did happen, it would be on the blockchain. Everyone could see that they made 1,000 more of these cards, and that's, it's public, it's visible. That's a big thing too. Everything is visible. So I don't know. Anyway, I like the idea. I feel it's tough. I feel like we just attacked all the benefits of it, but I still like it. So
I mean, I wasn't attacking benefits. Well, you were, I guess. But I think sounds like a good idea to me. I guess the thing for me is I don't see how anything that could be wrong with it.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. It definitely couldn't
compared to anything else that's like the similar thing.
Yeah, absolutely. It definitely couldn't be worse, and in a lot of ways it can be better just because it's public. For most of the cards, it's going to be pretty secure, definite. This is how many cards there are. There is a lot of that going on. If you want to trade someone, it's all just like Bitcoin. It's cryptographic. It's provable. You can see who has what. So yeah, it really can't be worse than a regular card game, and there can be tons of benefits, and I like all that. They also have their own currency, which is on Counterparty, which is on Bitcoin, and it's called Bit Crystals. And yeah, you can use that to buy and sell these cards. So anyway, yeah, I don't know. Is there anything else to add other than this is a cool idea and it's in beta and we'll see how it works out. All right, nice. So cool. All right, guys, I guess that brings us to advice of the week, which is going to be interesting today because we touched on so much. And I guess we'll see what we come up with. What is it, guys? What's
this is why people should stop complaining about us talking about Bitcoin, because when we talk about weird philosophical crap, it's always easy to come up with good advice.
That is true. Yeah, you could just say,
or at least funny, snarky advice. But right now, it's just like, what am I going to talk about that has nothing to do with what we talked about? I don't know, buy stuff on purse.
Well, actually, that's completely legitimate. It is good advice. Actually, that's probably the most practical advice we've ever come up with on the show. Most of the time it's like, don't be idiots to people, or like, I don't know, try and...
I think you're selling us short, Daniel. It's usually more like meta than that.
Yeah, it's like, try to steal people's advice. We've probably given that advice before. You're exactly right. But purse.io, totally practical, real discounts, ymb.tc/purse. It's just, it sounds...
That's my advice. When you buy stuff on Purse, use our affiliate link because you've got nothing to lose.
People think it's a scam when they hear about it, but we've used it for years. I've saved hundreds of dollars on it. It's a thing. It works. So check it out. All right. So my advice, I'm giving you some time, Tim, to come up with this epic wisdom of the ages. But I'm going to put my advice with the Bitcoinist article about Spells of Genesis. Just go check it out. Spellsofgenesis.com. It's a pretty sweet card game. I've got a couple cards there, a couple rare cards, and I've got some bit crystals. I don't know. Just see what it's about.
You'll take your deck on.
Yeah, yeah. Actually, yeah. I've only played it a few times because it's in beta and I'm busy and stuff. But yeah, I would play you if you want to. So figure that out. If you want to figure out how we can do that, we'll do it. All right, Tim, what you got for us?
Always turn on your recordings before you start a show. And
I mean, in the past, I would have been too self-conscious or like nervous or just plain picky about the episode to let this slip to the public. But sure, why not? Let's let it slip. Tim forgot to record for the first half of the episode, so he just made up his dialogue he only talked for like a minute probably, but he just made up that dialogue in post-production.
Yeah, but you know me, it was like
to be honest, I feel like if this episode turns out all right, that's the credit to us.
That's true. That's true. That we can fit stuff in even when it is completely non-existent. Yeah, I could see that as credit.
And anyway, yeah. No, I don't have anything. I'm not doing this.
That was good advice. I mean,
you're just not doing advice.
I mean, yeah, start your recording. And if this was a red flag and we were trying to generalize it, we'd say like, pay attention to what you're doing and try not to forget about important things.
Try not to forget about life. People don't know what red flags are.
You're right. We might have really brief. We definitely mentioned it on the show, but I don't know how much we explained it. But too bad. It's a red flag, and you'll have to figure out what it means. Maybe we'll get to it on our new show when we start the new one, because that's kind of one of the concepts behind it. I don't know. I don't want to get too much into it because it's not very solid yet, and it's not very coherent to the listeners. But yeah, that's another piece of advice. Stay tuned for new details about a new show. Awesome. All right, guys. Hey, it's been great having you. It really has. We love doing this show for every week for a tenth of our lives. That really is pretty crazy. And all the music you're probably hearing right now is from John Stuart. Get in touch with him or with us if you want him to write you some music. And come back next Thursday. It'll likely be YMB for another week or two. And then we'll start talking about alternating with a new show or something. I don't know. Just stay tuned for new details. Come back next Thursday. Peace.